Now we have the structure of our content types and taxonomy set up for the website, and it's time to begin adding some content to the site. Before we do, let's very quickly go to Site Building, URL Aliases, and Automated Alias Settings. These, of course, are the settings that PathAuto is handling to automatically generate human-readable node paths. Let's open up the node paths, and you should see content slash open bracket title hyphen raw closed bracket as the default pattern. You're probably familiar with PathAuto. If you're not, however, this simply means that every piece of content, unless we specify per content type, will be named our domain slash content slash the title of the content. We would find title raw in the replacement patterns here under node, title raw, the title of the node. Let's go ahead and set a few customized patterns for article paths. Let's simply call that articles slash title raw. For events, let's use events slash title raw. And for event previews, let's do event hyphen previews slash title raw. And then finally, for page, let's simply use title raw. And we'll save these settings. Now it's time to begin creating some content. So let's go to Content Management, Create Content, Article. Let's call this first one Interview with a Stormtrooper. We will, of course, categorize this article as an interview under our category taxonomy vocabulary. And let's upload an image to this piece of content. You can just use any image you want just to have something to test out. I happen to have a picture of me shaking hands with a stormtrooper, so that'll work perfectly. And we'll click upload, and there's our image. For the body, I'm just going to grab some dummy text. I like to get mine from lipsum.com. Scroll down a little bit and just generate some lorem ipsum. And we'll just copy these few paragraphs and paste it into our body field. We'll scroll down, and everything under all of this configuration should be just fine. So let's go ahead and save. And here's our article. We have our title, of course, our image, our body, and we see over here our category. In most cases, we would want to move this somewhere where it's a little bit more visible, but that's not a big deal for this site. Let's go ahead and create one more article. And the reason I'm not doing this with Devel is that we're only adding a couple pieces of content per content type, so it wouldn't really speed things along that much if we were using the Devel module to automatically generate dummy content. But also, since we are putting in manually created content on our own, it'll be a lot more readable, and it'll be a lot easier to make sure that all the fields were properly migrated from Drupal 6 to the Drupal 7 site. Whereas the Devel module uses gibberish, it would be a little bit more difficult to make sure that our fields didn't get obfuscated or mixed together or something like that. For our second article, we can call this pretty much whatever we want. Let's go with Why Concerts Are Fun. This will be categorized under opinion. And let's add any image we want here. I also happen to have a cool picture of a concert that I was at, which I'll use. I'm going to paste in my lorem ipsum text to the body. This is going to be the one exception to my note about using human readable text. And we'll save that piece of content. Now let's create a little bit of content with our other types. We'll go to Content Management, Create Content. Let's go ahead and create an event or two. How about let's let our first one be OS trainings, Drupal training event. We'll go with the event, which is, by the way, a real event, taking place in 2015, July 27th. We'll just put 0000 for the time. Make sure you fill this in, because sometimes the date module doesn't like it when you leave that out. And it goes to 2015 07 28. And we'll just use 0000 here as well, even though it should probably be 2359. For the location, this is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. So we'll type that in. And let's just use a very simple body. We'll say OS training will be teaching new developers how to use Drupal. Everything about this should be fine. Let's save. We can look and see that Path Auto is in fact working exactly as we wanted it to. Let's create one more event. How about DrupalCon? This year, 2015, DrupalCon is going to be held from May 11th. This is the North American event, that is, to 2015 05-15. And it's going to be held in Los Angeles, California. For the body, let's say simply, this is the definitive conference for Drupal developers. The rest of these settings should all be fine once again. Oh, and as you can see, I forgot to put in the time. Date doesn't like that when you leave that out, if it's supposed to be there. And now we'll save. Now let's create an event preview for each of these. We'll simply call this one OS Training Drupal July Preview, for lack of a more creative title. And here we have our node reference field, which is going to give us a select box with every event that we've created so that it can link to that events page on our site. So of course, we're going to want it to link to OS Training's Drupal training event. And for the body, I'm just going to use some lorem ipsum again. We'll save that, and we'll do one more for DrupalCon, event preview. DrupalCon is coming to LA this year. And our event, of course, is DrupalCon. We'll paste in the body, save that. And we can see under event, we have DrupalCon, we click it, and it will automatically take us to the DrupalCon page. Node reference is a module that I really like in Drupal. Now we have the meat of the content set up on our site, and there are just a few more things we're going to handle before we get to things like views configuration and blocks configuration.